Why are guys today reluctant to actively pursue girls? It really comes down to three main points. First, the average guy is working a regular job and barely making ends meet, even with overtime. When he scrolls through his phone, he's bombarded with images of other guys showering their partners with lavish gifts and spending thousands like it's nothing. He looks at his own Alipay and WeChat accounts and realizes he can't even afford a single handbag that others have. This makes him feel unworthy of the right to pursue girls. Faced with this reality, he might end up spending $299 at a massage parlor just a good night with a young woman, feeling a bit better after some comfort from her. He comes to a realization: all expressions of love come at a cost. Being in a relationship feels like selling your soul. Work already takes half his life, and dating takes the other half. A 30-year-old man feels like he's already lived the burdens of a 60-year-old.
Who would want that?
Second, many modern women seem to lack a sense of gratitude. They take all the efforts guys put in for granted. It's really tough for men today to shake off this feeling. No matter how well they treat women, one small mistake can undo everything. That's why many guys figure it's better to focus on themselves, order takeout after a long day, and scroll through their phones. It's a lot more comfortable. Third, today's women often seem to be in a relationship while simultaneously looking for someone better. If a guy doesn't meet their expectations, they'll break up with him and quickly move on to another man. An average young man, unaware of how many other interests the girl has, bravely pursues her, pouring in his time, energy, and money. The girl might not refuse and accepts everything, leading him to believe she actually likes him and that there's hope. But then, after 6 months and spending a significant amount, she might say, "We're just not compatible. Let's break up." The next day, she could be holding hands with someone else. Some girls will take a guy's kindness for 6 months or even a year, and when he finally opens up about his feelings, she might respond with, "Sorry, I'm not looking to date right now. Can you give me some time to think?" After another 6 months of enjoying the perks for free, she'll finally say, "Hey, let's just be friends." You have to wonder, who can put up with this? After being taken advantage of time and again, guys are hesitant to go through it again. They'd rather be alone, at least that way they won't feel emotionally drained. So, now you can see why guys today are hesitant to actively pursue girls, right? A female friend asked me why men today aren't actively pursuing women anymore, or why they seem to give up halfway. The truth is, guys are just tired of chasing. If I were a man trying to pursue you, you might say something like, "Oh, men don't know how to flirt. They just cling on like a pest." At that point, I'd probably just give up. Then you'd complain that I stopped halfway and call me a jerk. I might think, "Okay, let me give it another shot." But then you'd say, "If girls are too easy to chase, they won't be valued. You can't just agree to anything." I'd find that pretty discouraging and decide, this is too hard. I'm done chasing. Then you'd get upset, saying I'm not putting in enough effort, while girls are naturally slow to warm up. If you're slow to warm up, at least give me a sign so I know if I'm at 90% or just starting at 10%. It's like scratching an itch. If I scratch out a crab character, I'll get the hint without needing the whole phrase. When you're angry, I'd skip work to cheer you up, and if you told me to get lost, I'd leave right away. I'd buy you lipstick and gifts, and you might say I picked the wrong shade or that the gifts didn't hit the mark, calling me clueless. I'd spend $800 on a nice dinner for you, and you'd call me cheap, while I'd treat my buddies to a barbecue for $200 and they'd all have to call me dad. You'd block me 25 times after I've tried pursuing you 68 times, and that really stings. You'd say I should spend that time earning more money instead. I'm fit, good-looking, and hardworking, but chasing you makes me feel worthless. Then you'd say, girls aren't that hard to pursue. They say when a girl goes after a guy, there's just a thin layer of gauze in between. But when a guy goes after a girl, there are all these barriers. Cars, houses, even your family, your brothers, your guy friends, and all those filters on your photos. You've got your friends, beauty enhancements, and all the toxic advice online. Doesn't that sound tough? Honestly, you know right away if there's potential between us. But even if you know you don't have feelings for me, you still give me hope to chase you because you enjoy the feeling of being pursued. But the moment I confess my feelings, you hit me with the nice guy card, saying, "You're a great guy, but we're not compatible. I just don't feel anything for you." Then you go and tell 100 people about how I was chasing you and mock me, saying, "Look at this loser. I have no interest in him. He's just being nice." When I play a game and defeat a monster, I get hints. But when it comes to chasing you, I've used all my best moves, exhausted all my resources, and only to find out, oh, not a single point of health was lost. What's the point? The reality is that men would rather earn money and focus on themselves than chase after women. Life is tough, so why would they seek someone like that? Don't you agree?
Why are guys today not actively pursuing girls anymore? A lot of girls come to me saying things like, "It feels like men have become less proactive and don't want to spend money." What's going on? There's a saying I often see online that pursuing girls isn't that hard, as long as you're willing to invest your time, effort, and money, taking them out for nice meals, buying them stylish clothes, shoes, bags, and lipstick. You'll soon realize what it really means to throw your money away. That saying pretty much sums it up. I've talked to many guys I see out and about, and they're not saying they don't want to spend money on dating or that they can't humble themselves to pursue women. It's more that they don't want to invest in relationships that lead nowhere. After all, we all know that making money isn't easy. For anyone, really. In today's world, casual dating means going out for meals several times a month. And during holidays, you're expected to give red envelopes and gifts. Who has the time and energy for that? We end up putting in at least 6 months to a year into a relationship without any real payoff. And even if you're fully invested, when it comes to discussing marriage, if you can't meet the other person's expectations, it doesn't stop a girl from ultimately turning you down. Nobody wants to spend their youth and money supporting someone's future wife. Now, a lot of women online are saying things like, "Making money is the most important thing. It's way more crucial than love or men." So, is that how you really feel? Guys feel the same way. Instead of acting like a doormat and going out of their way to please someone, it's better to focus on making money and wait until they're successful to find a partner who's a better match. Overall, the reality of today's women has made men more realistic too.
You guys don't go after women anymore. Are you just waiting for them to chase you instead? A female friend of mine asked me this, and here's what I told her. These days, if a guy actively pursues a woman, he's almost guaranteed to get labeled a simp. The market is what it is. Prices are inflated, and they're not coming down. With the cost this high, there just aren't many women worth the effort. It wasn't always like this. Back then, if a girl liked you, even a small gift would make her happy. It was all about the thought behind it. Now, they'll say, it's not about the money, it's about the attitude. But let's be real, that so-called attitude is money. And a lot of it. Drop 200 and you're seen as cheap. Spend 1,000 and now you're showing the right attitude. Even then, if she's not into you, she wouldn't take the gift in the first place. But nowadays, she'll take it, pocket the thought behind it, and move on. Accepting the gift doesn't mean she's interested, it just means she thinks she deserves it. Back in the day, if a woman didn't like you, she'd keep her distance, not wanting to be associated with you. Now, even if she's not interested, she'll still string you along, keep you hopeful, and then squeeze you dry in the end. A lot of guys have been burned by this and are completely over it. Why even chase? The risk is way too high, and the investment rarely pays off. Guys have wised up. These days, anytime a dating coach gives advice on how to pursue women, the comment section is flooded with guys asking, why even bother? The game has changed. A lot of men are realizing that their money is better spent on themselves, on things that actually make them happy. Just look at the otaku culture in Japan. Who needs a girlfriend? No thanks. Personal happiness comes first.